Okay, so good morning. Welcome to Byte Sized Training. This week we're going to talk about inserting blocks of text into a document using the InterForm400 product. I'll come on to that in a little bit in a few more slides time, but just first of all, I want to talk to you about Byte Sized Training and what Byte Sized Training is. If you've not attended a Byte Sized Training session before, basically a Byte Sized Training session is something that we run every month, and we offer a free training session, normally between 15 minutes and 30 minutes, so it doesn't take up an awful lot of time, and it's really discussing a particular topic of one of the software products that we use. So if you've got a particular interest in any specifics of either InterForm or the Profound or any of the other products, then by all means send us a note. We'll build a bite-sized training to discuss that topics. You can also visit our website where we've got previous bite-sized training sessions that we've run. Most of them are recorded nowadays. Some of the early ones weren't, but if you wanted to have a look at the recordings or, as I say, suggest new ones, then please do. We're really keen on people joining in. We try and offer something back as part of your annual support maintenance. So we will take up any other topics, and we'll take you through those scenarios and give you a bit of a training session on those. Okay, so InterForm text box. It's difficult sometimes to get excited about InterForm as a output management product because it's so robust, it's so reliable, it just does what it says on the tin, and it's unless you're interested in the actual the formatting, the artistry side of InterForm, then it's difficult to get a little bit excited sometimes. I'm a techie, and I'm speaking as a techie. So I look more at the engineering side and the features. And when I saw this feature come out recently, I thought this is a really, really great step in the right direction. And of course, InterForm does give the ability to put in fixed text into a document, but it's restricted to a certain amount of text. So I think I forget the actual size. I think it's 30 or 60 characters. So if you want to insert a whole block, you have to chop it up into smaller sizes and then manipulate them into the right place, and you have to sort of move them along so that they look the way you want them to appear when the final document's produced. And it's a bit of an arduous task, especially when you've got lots and lots of lines. So if you're taking a terms of conditions page that's normally printed on the back of a purchase order with hundreds and hundreds of words and characters, it could take quite a while to produce that. So now they've introduced this ability for you to enter a block of text, which you can cut and paste from, say, a Word document or whatever, into the text block, and then you can format it within the document. As I say, it's something that really excited me when I first saw it. Just to run you through, it requires the 2020 version of InterForm. It's only just been released, and normally customers look to upgrade within sort of 3 months to 6 months after a release comes out. So it is available now. If you wanted to upgrade, you can, but generally I think 6 to 3 months is probably the normal. You can add multiple blocks of text, so you're not restricted to just one per page. You can add as many as you want. When you insert the text into the text box, you then set the margins and all sorts of other characteristics, and InterForm will wrap that text within the left and the right hand margin according to the size and whatever of the characters and the number of words. It then allows you to additionally change the formatting of the text within the block. So you can highlight certain words and say, I want this to be bold or underlined, or it could be in a different font. So it's a really neat feature, and I thought it would be a great one to show you on a bite-sized training session. I'm just going to whiz you through the screens on the designer, then we're going to go onto the system and actually have a look at it live. So here it is, that we have a text block element, which now appears down here, and you can see the little green screen on the left hand side. That allows you to insert a text block and position it within the document, and you can see over on the right hand side in the circle that I've drawn, you can see the actual text block location. And then we put into the property box underneath all of the text. So you just literally cut and paste that into the text box, and it will format that onto the output. It's also available in the green screen designer, so you can go on to, for those that used to use the green screen designer, and I do sometimes. It has the ability to enter the same characteristics you can do on the PC designer, and this is how you enter the data that's going to appear in there. Okay, so this is the result, and what I've done in the example that I'm going to show you, I've inserted the text block on the main body of the page. This is the first text block that I've inserted, and the second text block is a terms and conditions block that I've added to an individual empty overlay, which I then use to put onto the back page. So in a duplex scenario, I can produce the terms and conditions on the back of the page. Now, traditionally, those needed to be done with an image or a PCL file. So, as I say, you could have actually literally typed in each of these lines as a 30-character text element and piece them all together, but it's incredibly difficult to get them to line up. So most people just made an image of their terms and conditions and put the image on the back page. Well, now we can do this with this text block. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the session. So this is the InterForm Windows Designer. If I open my demo spool file, what I've got here, this is the InterForm demo spool file, which is 4 pages, and what I've got is a main overlay which does some formatting and puts in the logo and puts a box around the address and so on. But I've also got a sub overlay, which is a conditional overlay, which basically it repeats the detail lines down the page, so it identifies where the detail lines are within this page. This is a typical invoice, so each invoice line. And then I've got a condition set to say where characters, I'll just open the spool file window and move these around. So I've identified this as the detail, the lines area of the invoice, and I've set a condition to say where this is not blank, I'm going to pass control of the formatting to a sub overlay. So rather than do all of the formatting of the detail lines in the main overlay, I'm doing them in the sub overlay. And the purpose of that is to highlight certain pieces of detail lines according to the model number. So you'll see on the second column, you've got a model number which begins with a 5, 8, or a 2. And in this case, where the model number begins with a 5 or a 2, it just puts some highlighting in. So that's just a typical conditional overlay. And what I've then put is I've entered a text block, and the text block basically describes it's just some text, but it's there to describe the purpose of the highlighting and so on. So it's a special pricing for all modules and so on. So I basically cut and pasted this into the text block from a Word document, and here's all the text. I then specify the position using the normal coordinates that you're used to and the default font to use, and then I'll specify the maximum width of the block. So although it starts at position 3.667, which is just 3 inches or nearly 4 inches across the page, it will only then go across the page from that position for a maximum of 3.5 inches. So that's how we set the left and the right hand margin. And within that left and right hand margin, the system will wrap the text. Okay, so the next thing, if we look at the escape sequences, we can now use our own escape sequence coding and I've used this /NL to represent a new line. So whenever I place the /NL into the box here, it gives me a new line. So this gives me the ability to space things out and add extra lines. So although it's wrapping from the left to the right hand margin, I can break in the middle of a line and force the wrapping to start a new line by doing this. I've also created an escape sequence /BL or /UB to change the font. So to make something bold, I use a font that I've defined as a bold font, which is this. So whenever I see the /BL, it changes the font to a bold font. And at the end of that, I change it to UB to unbold it and make it back to a normal intensity. And if I look at if I do a print preview of this, it takes a while because I'm on a VPN. Right, okay, so here we go. This is my text block here that's been inserted at the bottom of the page. And although I just threw the text into the text block, the /NLs have obviously given me the ability to move things down to a new line. So you can see that it's spaced out. So although the designer specifies the location on the results window, you need to check the output, because you won't see the output formatted in the designer window. It only gets formatted as part of the merge process. So it will look slightly different in the design. I don't know whether they'll improve this. But we can see that I've also made some of the text bold by inserting the escape sequences and so on. So that's the actual result of a simple text block. Okay, and that's also applies in PDF output as well. So if we just hang fire for the PDF document to open up. Okay, you see the same here and so on. If I go to my green screen, we can see if I down to design mode, my sequence number 1 is a function type B. I'll just do more options so we can see that B is actually a text block here. And then we've got all the coordinates that we had on the original, and this is how we define our escape sequences and so on. And then this is our text that we can type in, and you've got some facilities there for copying lines, moving lines, inserting, deleting, and so on. So it just makes it easier for you to maintain that block with a green screen. But as I say, probably do the block of text in Word and then just cut and paste it in. If I go into my designer, and specify one PCL, so this is a PCL output. I'm now going to merge this with an overlay that's set up as a duplex option, so we can look at the duplex pages that have been inserted. Yeah, I apologise for the delay, but I'm running over a VPN. So there's our document, and this is the main overlay invoice with some formatting, and you've got our first text box here at the bottom, and then on the second page we have our terms and conditions that appear on the back of the page, and that's produced using a text block. Okay, and if we show this in PDF, just so that you can see it a little bit better. You'll find that whenever we've used before in the past an image, the images tend to get a little bit grainy because they scale and you resize them and so on, and go through conversions. But when you look at the second page, the actual text is as clear as any other text on the document. This is a real advantage for using this for terms and conditions pages. So that's that is the end of the bite-sized training for today. I hope you all enjoyed that.